Hello everyone, welcome to a different kind of video on the channel. Today I'm going to be ranking loads of the different Harry Potter games, which are going to be based entirely off of my opinion and what I think of each of those games. Bear in mind that some will not be included here. I will get onto that in a moment. The main reason I'm doing this is because everyone keeps asking me all the time, what's my favourite Harry Potter game? What's my least favourite Harry Potter game? And now you actually know what my least favourite and my favourite game out of the whole series is. Anyway, so before we begin, I want to show you on the screen right now all the games that I'm not going to be including in this list and the reason why they're not included. Post-editing Alex here. I've had to cut out a few different points that I've made for these games in different various places due to the fact that the video was becoming far too long. So as a result, there are definitely going to be points that really I would have liked to have made for certain games that are not there anymore. However, if you would like to see a more in-depth view of every single one of these games separately, then depending how well this video performs and depending if you guys want to see it or not, then I'll do separate videos for those games explaining all the different points that didn't make it into here as well as the points that did make it into here. So these are the games that will not be included in today's ranking. This doesn't mean that I won't ever rank these in the future. It's more than likely that in the future I will come back to a video like this for the Harry Potter games again and actually add these into the ranking as well. The reason these are not being added is either because I haven't played them for many years, so I don't really remember everything about them, so it feels a little unfair to rank them, or I've never played them before. Also for reference, don't ever expect any of the mobile games to ever end up on the list because I have no intention of ever playing the mobile games. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. So coming in last place, of course, is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I mean, if you've been a follower of my channel for a long time now, or you've tuned into my streams, you will know that I don't like this game and I really detest it with all my might. Really, when it comes to the Harry Potter games, I think this is the lowest of the low, and I'm not sure it's even possible to sink any lower than this. Maybe with Harry Potter Connect, but like I said, it's been too long since I last played that, so we'll judge that at some point in the future, I'm sure. But Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 to me is really unfortunate, because it's a game that could have taken the series in a different direction, but in the correct sort of way. What I mean by this is it's the one time period where the series becomes extremely dark. You're no longer in Hogwarts and it's all about Harry and his adventures outside of Hogwarts trying to find the Horcruxes and destroy them. Something that I thought could have been really developed upon here with this game. However, it doesn't really come across that way. I can see that the devs have tried to make it kind of disturbing and creepy and horrifying, but it just doesn't really give me that feeling whenever I'm playing it, which is a real turn off for me when it comes to this game, unfortunately, as a starter. But then we haven't even got into all the other issues with this game, and there are a lot. The big one is, of course, the shooting mechanic design. It's blatantly obvious to me that at the time they just looked at all the most popular games that are around, like Gears of War, Call of Duty, Battlefield, and went, yep, we'll put that onto Harry Potter. And of course, as a result, we've now got a full-on third-person cover action shooter. It just feels stupid and weird on the Harry Potter format. In particular, to me, it ruins what really should be the biggest focus, in my opinion, for Harry Potter, which is the spell casting. Something that I was happy with, which you'll know about more later on, Order of the Phoenix, where you actually got some proper movements to the spells when casting. Something that we really don't have here. Instead, what we have here is just mash the trigger button or the left mouse button if you're playing on PC, and that's it. And of course, each spell doesn't feel really like a spell, it feels more like a gun. We've got a machine gun, we've got grenade launchers, you've got the whole package here. There's literally every gun you could physically think of inside of a shooter game just hacked onto a Harry Potter format. The spells themselves feel pretty pointless for the most part, and you're mostly just going to be sticking to the one spell, Stupefy. You'll switch on the odd occasion where you have to, but otherwise you really have no need to. It just feels kind of pointless. In some ways, I will give them credit for trying to make this more actiony, as of course the Deathly Hallows time period is quite actiony, but they didn't do it in the right way, in my opinion. The lip syncing is just all over the place. I know it sounds like a weird complaint, doesn't it? But it really bothers me, which implies to me that they recorded a load of lines, scrapped it, and then recorded a load of other lines without doing the reanimation of the models for doing that. So it was done last minute. Another issue I have with this is the invisibility cloak sections. Oh boy, this is something that I really did not like in this game one bit. It's meant to be a stealth section, of course, that you get throughout the game, game, which is a neat idea, and I like the idea, executed really poorly. The fact that you have such a limited amount of time that you can move while under the invisibility cloak is super annoying. You have to stand still to recharge this little Deathly Hallows symbol in the corner in order to be able to actually move again without Harry just randomly taking off the cloak, which is a bit strange, I might add. The thing about this mechanic is more the fact that if enemies are anywhere near you, it still depletes the Deathly Hallows symbol, even when you're not moving, which is so annoying. In a lot of the levels, like the Ministry of Magic level, there are enemies everywhere. It makes it very difficult to actually recharge your cloak sometimes. Also, if anyone accidentally walks into you at any point, that's the cloak off, and it's just full-on carnage. Also, the side missions, a nice little addition, I guess, to try and pad out the game, but the problem is they just make no sense in the game context whatsoever, and are just ridiculous. A lot of these are just not really well thought over, and they're just kind of thrown in, I feel, again at the last minute just to try and pad out the game with no real backing as to why they exist. But I think the worst part about this game overall is how repetitively boring it is. It's constantly the same firefight again and again and again, and it doesn't feel any different. Also, just to add here that the 30 FPS limit on PC, why? There was no need for that. I get it on console, but on PC there was absolutely no need for it whatsoever. You should have given players the option to change that. On one positive note for it, I will say that the music in this game, I quite like it. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Yeah, this wasn't really going to fare that much better, was it, to be honest? But what I will say is I have a lot more positive comments when it comes to this game than negative. The negative ones really stem from the past game, which is it's just not a very interesting game to play, and overall it's just another shooter game that we already had. However, they did try their best to actually improve in places, so I have to give them some props here. I have to give them credit for the spells. The spells in this game actually feel uniquely different from one another. They feel interesting. They feel like they're all useful. There was no point when I was playing this game where I thought that there was a spell that was really not that helpful in the end. So that is a massive plus, and congratulations for actually nailing that. Overall, I have to say that the combat in this feels a bit more polished. I wouldn't say it feels incredibly brilliant by any means, but it felt better than it did in part 1. The thing that makes me kind of sad about this game is I was kind of hoping that as they were returning to Hogwarts with this game, that it would have an open world free roam to it, which we had of course with Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix. Unfortunately, we don't have that with this game. Instead, what we've got is a linear story driven path. I would have actually been quite happy to free roam around the whole of Hogwarts, just randomly bumping into different characters at random intervals. I think this would have been a really cool addition. One major positive I have to say to Bright Light Studios, and I respect them for doing this, is at the end of the game when you complete this, you actually get a little montage of all the different Harry Potter games that have released over the years and the different versions, as well as actually some cut content exclusive footage showing in there as well, which is actually really cool. A nice way to send off the series, I suppose. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire for the GBA. I didn't really like the GBA version when I came back to it recently. I played it quite a bit when I was younger when it came out, and I have to say that it really wasn't fun playing that again. I didn't enjoy it one bit, actually, to be honest. It's a really boring game. I think one of the major problems I had with it is that some of the levels, because they're so repetitively boring, trying to get the collectibles feels like a real chore, but at the same time not a chore that I really want to put a lot of effort and time into, because there's no real great reward that's worth my time afterwards. And also, I want to add here while we're on this point that some of these levels are insanely long. I mean, the Forbidden Forest level to get the collectibles as well took like an hour just to get through that. This really doesn't hold up in my opinion as it did, I guess, to my younger self. The thing I did quite like about this is they did include the Yule Ball part, which of course is not in the main console ports or anything like that. Is it anything groundbreaking? No, not by any means, but hey, it's a little bit of fun at the end of the day. It's a handheld game. This is the sort of stuff you get in handheld games, so hey, good to have it here. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. people are probably going to be very surprised to see this here and not Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire's main game. I'm surprised as well, to be honest. It really boils down to which one I find a bit more fun to play, and I'm going to be honest with you, the Half-Blood Prince I don't find a very fun, entertaining game to play. This is really just the Order of the Phoenix, a bit bigger, with worse secrets that are not even that interesting to collect, and ridiculously repetitive mini games that are actually really not fun. I think the only mini game that I didn't mind was the dueling mini games that kept popping up, and I mean the Grab and Goyle ones are just ridiculous. I mean, you just walk around the castle throughout some of the story and they just come out of nowhere and go, "Oh, you think you're better than us?" and they just randomly attack you. I do have to say though that the Quidditch in this game is dreadful. Probably the worst Quidditch I've ever played in a Harry Potter game, if I'm honest. Why is it with the Quidditch matches you have to have a practice run first and then the real thing, which would probably be fine if they were actually different from one another, which to be honest they're really not. Having rings that you go through but on a railed path for Quidditch just takes away the whole fun of Quidditch, in my opinion. The potion minigame is something I guess that's interesting for like the first 2 tries, but when you keep doing this potion minigame constantly throughout the game so many times, it gets rather stale rather quickly. The story itself, I mean, I sympathise with the devs. The Half-Blood Prince is not exactly the most exciting story to make into a game when not much happens. On positive notes, I do have to say that they did improve the casting of spells, even though it can be ridiculously overpowered in duels. You could just use a simple set of maneuvers to basically win every time. I give them props for extending the castle and giving us more to explore. And as for the secrets in this game, it's a real step down when we come from Order of the Phoenix, which really made all the secrets feel quite special and unique, whereas in this game they're just some shields you pick up and that's really it. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now, we all knew that this was going to come near the bottom. However, I am still surprised that I prefer it to Half-Blood Prince, but here we are. This was a really weird entry into this whole series. This is the game that I consider the odd grey sheep of the pack. It's the game that decided to go completely its own direction and tried something completely new. It failed so badly that it's the only one that ever did it. Now, everyone knows, if they've watched my content for a while, that I'm not a big fan of this game, and that, to be honest, I don't have a lot of nice things particularly to say about it because I really don't enjoy it. It has certain levels that I actually consider kind of entertaining to play. Also, the music in this game is actually really good. There's no soundtrack within this game that I don't like. Instead of the actual task levels being the major focus with huge levels and that, we got these side levels that everyone knows at this point are not long, but to get all the collectibles and things in them makes them long. Then there's this mechanic which I despise about this game, and I know everyone else does as well, but it's obvious why it's here. It's here to try and pad out the length of the game. It's basically the mechanic where you need to get tribals of shields in order to unlock the next level. But it gets much worse when you get later on into the game, where you start unlocking levels, but then of course there aren't many levels left, so as a result they want to make you go back through the levels a lot in order to unlock the next levels. I guess the one thing that I will say about this mechanic that I don't mind is that I get to go back through these past levels and actually see new areas and experience new parts to them, which actually is a good thing. I think that is a nice addition. The thing that I hate about this mechanic, which really pisses me off, is the fact that you go through a level, you find a shield, you pick it up, you then get kicked out of the level back to the menu screen where you select a level, and then you have to repeat this process again and again and again and again. It sucks. It absolutely sucks, this mechanic, constantly being kicked out after picking up a shield. I hate that mechanic. I know why it exists, but it should never have been implemented in that way, and it's made most people quit this game and never want to play it again in their lives. And then the AI in this game, oh boy, the AI. The AI is horrendous. There are times where the AI will just keep killing themselves and they'll walk into dangerous creatures, objects, whatever it may may be, and they'll keep doing it and they'll revive themselves and then they'll just do the same thing again. There are times where you're trying to pick up an object and you need multiple characters to do it at once to progress, and one of them will just keep locking on with the spell and then unlocking and locking and unlocking, and it's endless and it's super annoying. Although I will say that if you play this in co-op with actual real life people, of course this isn't a problem and you don't have to worry about the AI. So yeah, that's a selected bonus, I suppose. And overall, I just think it actually looks quite nice, Goblet of Fire in places. Not everywhere, but most of the time it looks alright. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the GBA. For this game, I will say that the main reason it's so low on the list is actually just because it hasn't aged well. And it really hasn't aged particularly that well. The combat in it is rather sluggish and slow. That's the big thing for me with this game. It's slow when it comes to the combat. Trying to attack enemies like the gnomes that run quite quickly at you. Harry has this really long animation that he has to go through in order to attack them, and usually that will end up in you getting bitten by a gnome or attacked by something else. The other thing that I find kind of sad about this game is the fact that it kind of implies throughout it that there is an open world free roam to explore Hogwarts around the place and kind of find secrets and all that. Really, it's so linear in its exploring and secrets. A lot of the time you actually aren't able to free roam explore. There's a prefect blocking your path, so you're not able to go up in that direction to the stairs or whatever, or go outside, whatever it may be. There are very few points in this game where you're actually allowed to just free roam explore the whole castle without any limitations. I think it happens twice in the whole game, and that's about it. I would still say that it's worthwhile people actually trying out the game at least, or giving it one go. Harry Potter and the Prison of Azkaban for the GBA. The most positive thing I have to say about this game right from the get-go is the fact that they include a lot more of the book within this game. Things that are not present in the PC and console ports are present here, like the Firebolt story arc. There's also different paths that you can take throughout the game, which gives you that replayability value once again as well. So you can choose different characters to go on different paths, or you can team up with a different character to go on a different path. A nice addition, changes up the game a little bit. It's got a nice amount of free roam exploring this game, which I enjoy, so that's a great addition. I'm always up for free roam exploring, that's always nice. My biggest gripe and complaint about this game, which is what makes it go so low down on my list, is the combat. I am not a fan of this style of combat. I get that a lot of people do enjoy this style of combat, and that's fine. I could deal with it for about 3 or 4 goes, but then after that it's just boring. I find it really dull using this combat style, which is basically a turn-based style combat. Yeah, I can get why some people might like that, and I do like the strategy of that sort of combat style where you can choose different combat styles and that while doing those attacks. That's fine. It's just not something I enjoy, unfortunately, in gaming. But either way, that's the only thing that really lets this game down, in my opinion. I think it's actually a fairly fun game that I do believe people should go and play. Harry Potter and the Quidditch World Cup. This is a really fun game to play with friends. Playing it on your own, I mean, it's alright, I guess. When you unlock later on difficulties, after completing more of the challenges and matches, I think it was in the game, it does make a big difference when going up against the AI and solo, and makes it a lot more entertaining. When it comes to this game, really shining in my opinion is when you had a couch co-op friend that you could sit down with back in the days and play this game co-op with. I always really enjoyed sitting down in the past on my PlayStation 2, playing this with my brother or some of my other friends from school and just having a blast of a time. You could play as the Hogwarts teams if you wanted to, so Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff, or you could go and play the actual Quidditch World Cup teams, and there's so many different ones that's awesome. Lego Harry Potter years 5 to 7. I think it's honestly a fairly fun game to play still. I do kind of enjoy it. It doesn't hold that kind of love and nostalgia that part 1 to 4 did for me. I think another part of me that probably puts it this low compared to part 1 to 4 is the fact that I do prefer parts 1 to 4 film wise than I do parts 5 to 7. But I certainly don't hate this game, and I'm happy to go back and play it when I want to. And I will say that it is a much better way to experience the Deathly Hallows, and to be fair, the Half-Blood Prince film story perspectives, and actually have a good time while playing those. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the PlayStation 2. I want to make this very clear. I don't hate this game, and I know a lot of people seem to think that I do hate it. I actually think it's a good game, and I do enjoy playing it. Unfortunately, it is let down though, mainly because of course the game that came out before this was the Chamber of Secrets for PlayStation 2, which when you then came and played this one afterwards, if you were like me and played it back in the days when they came out, it kind of felt like you were getting almost similar game, but with some slight differences here and there. I do also have to stress that it's expensive to pick up now, and is actually kind of rare, and it's probably the rarest Harry Potter game in existence now out of these titles that you've got here today in this list. I will say though that it's probably best that you play this before you go and play Chamber of Secrets PS2, because otherwise you're going to judge it quite harshly, I think. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. The first thing that I think is very important to know about this, that some people don't know still, is that the dev team actually asked fans what they wanted in this game. The fans were involved in basically creating this game because they probably realized that everyone hated Goblet of Fire, and they needed to figure out what people actually wanted to see in Harry Potter games going forward, so that they actually gave the fans a game that they enjoyed. But the two biggest praises I have to give to the Order of the Phoenix, which is what makes it come up as high as it does on this list, is the exploring, which at the time, I have to add, was pretty incredible. You know, there was a huge castle to explore here, and also the fact that we had some really awesome secrets put in here. The secrets in this game are a lot of fun. They're interesting to find, and I have to say that whenever I play Order of the Phoenix, I do spend my time mainly going and looking for the secrets. Also, the spell mechanic being changed. And of course, they wanted to put this game on the Wii, and the Wii uses motion controls, so they decided that they wanted to make the spells have motion controls this time around. I always wanted the ability to actually motion move my sort of like, I guess my mouse or my hand or analog stick, I suppose, in order to try and create the spell symbol, and actually gave me this kind of wand motion that made me feel like I was actually casting these spells. It can be a bit janky in places, and I understand that that can be rather annoying, but hey, it's a really nice addition to the series, and I'm glad they did it. The bit they didn't achieve, which is where the negative part comes in, it's extremely short, this game, and you can beat it very quickly. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for the PS1. I do quite enjoy coming back and playing this game on the odd occasion from time to time. It's definitely got some unique parts to it. I mean, the ghoul at the beginning throwing pipes around the place is kind of a bit entertaining and fun. One thing that I really did like about this version of the game, which you don't see in the other games, is the fact that you could fly the Ford, which is the car by the way, at the start of the game, and actually, you know, do a whole sequence with that, which was really cool, and I like that addition. But I think the big reason why I put it so low down here compared to some of these other ones is the fact that this game really is just kind of the same game as Philosopher's Stone for PS1. Obviously there are differences, like Hogwarts is a bit different in its layout and so on. Overall it still has the same concept as the Philosopher's Stone, and even a lot of the mini games that were from that game are actually the same here, just with a different skin on top of them. There's nothing wrong with that, and in some ways I don't think that's a terrible thing, because actually it's still fun, and the mini games that exist here are not bad. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban for the PC. I think when I came from the Chamber of Secrets on PC, I really had very high expectations for the third game and thought to myself, okay, they've surely got to make this game even better than Chamber of Secrets. But sadly, it didn't quite reach that mark. It did do some great things. For example, the fact that you got to control a rabbit with Lapithors, and also Dragonophores you could use to control the dragon. Really awesome, and I love those additions to this game, and they are definitely the standout point. I guess the Glacier slides were quite entertaining and fairly fun to do, so that's also an added bonus. The overall secrets in the game didn't really feel like secrets, as they're kind of in plain sight all the time. Yeah, you collect all the wizard cards to then get one wizard card at the end to get into the beam bonus room once again, but again, it's not a unique level, it's just playing the same level that you played before earlier on in the game, just without a time limit this time. Out of all the PC games, this is the one that I play the least, and it's the one that I don't really come back to very much anymore. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the PlayStation 1. This game will always be a childhood dream to me. Back when I was young and I played all the different versions of Philosopher Stone that came out at that time period all in one go, because we managed to get them all at the same time back then, I distinctly remember playing this a lot with friends. I really love this game. It looks horrifyingly bad by today's standards, and everyone knows that. In some ways, I don't consider that a bad thing. I consider that one of the best charms that this game has to it in some regards. It has created endless meme material. I think gameplay wise, I do actually enjoy this game. I think it's fairly fun to play. I can easily come back and play this one. It's also really brutal. Some of the things that they say to each other in this game are just definitely not meant for kids. Lego Harry Potter years 1 to 4. This spot is kind of really just nostalgia for me, I think, which is why it comes up so high. But the gameplay of the first Lego Harry Potter years 1 to 4 was so much fun. I still have tons of fun playing it whenever I come back to it. I also really like the first 4 films, and as you can see, Lego Harry Potter's years 1 to 4 executed it perfectly. I don't think I've met anyone who's ever played this game and said that they don't like it. Like I said, this spot kind of comes in here for nostalgia a fair bit. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the PC. It's got a really nice charm to it, this game, and I just enjoy that charm whenever I come back and play it. The drawing of the spells I thought was actually quite a nice, interesting idea. I will confess though that if you were like me and when you were growing up with this, you were playing with these mice that had little balls in them, this section was actually horrendous and the most horrible thing to have to try and complete. But of course, as time's moved on and we got mice with actual lasers in them now, it's not nearly as bad. It's got some well-hidden secrets in places, it has to be said. Well-designed secrets, in my opinion, well-designed, and actually had a lot of thought put into them. My main fault with this game overall, though, comes down to 3 things. One being the secrets don't really give you an awful lot, in particular as collecting wizard cards in this game is kind of pointless. I mean, it's good if you want to look at them and read their descriptions, yes, but they don't give you anything else that's worthwhile. Another major problem, in my opinion, with this game is how short it is. Now, I know it had a bit of a troubled development, this game, and to be fair, considering what they came out with in the end because of that, I'm really impressed. And the other major deal here, which really is bad, is the mechanics and the gameplay movement. God, it's clunky, it's bad, and it doesn't work well on modern day hardware whatsoever. So if you are going to play this, I just want to mention this right now, you should play with the movement mod that actually allows you to use the HP2 PC movement system basically inside of HP1 PC. I'll leave a link for this mod down in the description as well as the pinned comment, so you guys that want it and want to go and play it, then you know you can go and get it. This mod was created by AdamJD, so all credit goes to him for creating this. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for the GBA. Now, here's a spot on the list that I know a lot of people won't agree with. Despite its faults in certain areas, the fact that there is no actual boss fight against Aragog is really depressing and kind of sad that that never got put in. Likewise, the Basilisk fight at the end of the game is kind of a bit pathetic, if I'm honest. Either way, I love this game. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's something I can happily play again and again and again, and I have done for years. I keep coming back to this GBA game and playing it all the time. I love its combat. I actually love the gameplay style. To be fair, I know a lot of people give it hate, but I think it's quite fun. I enjoy exploring around Hogwarts. It feels like an entertaining Hogwarts to explore around. The wizard cards have some kind of purpose to them. Kind of nice that you can also unlock Alohomora via wizard cards in this one. Just something a little bit different for a change rather than just buying it from Fred and George. I also have to say that I enjoyed the art style of this game. HP2 GBA is effectively my guilty pleasure, if you like, and it's something that I will always want to come back to out of the Harry Potter games and keep playing. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for the PlayStation 2. I love this game. I played it tons when I was younger, and I played it a lot growing up still as well. It's a really fun game to constantly keep coming back to. It's got some interesting exploring to it, which is actually quite nice to see that there are loads of little collectibles around the place that you can get. There's a lot of aspects of the film that it either skips over or it just shows at one point and then forgets about. You don't have Dobby at all in this game, which surprised the hell out of me when I was younger, I might add. Lucius Malfoy is just barely in this. nice. Then you've got Gilderoy Lockhart, who literally shows up twice, I think it is, in the game. So yeah, there's a lot of the main plot that kind of just gets skipped over or forgotten about. This game's great fun. I love it. I will always love it. I will always love coming back to it and playing it again and again and again. It's so much fun, and I don't think I can really fault it any more than I have, which is crazy that I've given it as many faults as I have in the first place. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban for the PlayStation 2. I know so many people probably put HP2 PS2 above this game, and I understand, but this one just is, it's where it's at for me. I love this game so much. I love its art style. I love the environments. I love the secrets that they have in this. I think it's really entertaining that each of the 3 characters has some unique secrets of their own for the most part. I mean, Harry's a bit of an exception there. As for the other 2, they do have something different for each of them, which is really cool. I like the way that each one of the characters has different spells that they learn here. That's nice. It makes each character again feel unique. It's a really fun game to play. I really do enjoy each level I go in and play. There's nothing wrong with them. Sure, some levels can be considered a bit more boring than others. I will admit that the end of the game is extremely rushed. I still quite enjoy the end bits where you have to actually fight the Dementors and so on. That's actually not that bad. Also, being able to control Hedwig for the first time in this game, oh, I love that. And Jeremy Soule definitely did a really good job with the soundtrack of this game as well. Harry Potter and the Chamber Secrets for the PC. It's really difficult to beat HP2 PC, I think, and I'm not sure anything can ever beat HP2 PC. I'm not even convinced that Hogwarts Legacy could beat this game. The thing about this game, which is what really makes it stand out in my opinion, it makes it so special, is the fact that it is the successor to HP1 PC. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that HP1 PC laid the groundwork. It was a good game. It did a lot of great things and it had a lot of interesting ideas, but it didn't have enough content there, or the mechanics felt clunky, etc. Come to the sequel with Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for PC, pretty much every single problem that you had with the first game on PC, no wonder completely sorted out here with the sequel. You got free roam exploring added into this game for the first time ever, which was done really well. You got really well hidden secrets once again. You got secrets that you could only access by coming back to them later on in the game by collecting specific spells. You got secret levels that you can unlock from doing stuff like the wizard cards, so getting all the silver wizard cards. Hell, you even got wizard cards that give you more health in the game. That was a great addition. The challenge levels in this game actually felt like challenges more than just casual areas that you could walk through. You had proper timers this time around, which made you actually feel like you needed to get through the challenge in a particular way as fast as possible, while also trying to collect as many of the stars as you can to try and get the best score, meaning that you could spend longer in the beam bonus room. I mean, there's so much here for this game, and that it just absolutely aced everything it set out to try and achieve. There are certain areas that I can fault it. For example, the Quidditch is pretty awful in my opinion in this version. I know a lot of people won't agree with me, but I quite like the Quidditch in the first game on PC, where you got to free roam fly with your broom everywhere. In this game it's completely on rails, which is a bit like HP6, and to be honest it's not very good. If there's an example of a game that basically looked at the first game and went, I'm gonna up my game and beat you by like 1,000 times more than what you could have ever achieved, that's what HP2 PC managed to achieve, and it did it so damn well. So much love and nostalgia for this game, and I just want to say thank you to No Wonder for taking what you made in the first game, which was a masterpiece on its own in my opinion still, and just making something even more incredible. And I still think that it will really take a hell of a lot to try and beat this game, if anyone ever could. And there we have it. We're now at the end of the rating. It was a long video this, so I appreciate everyone that stuck all the way through to the very end. I appreciate the fact that there are a lot of games here as well, and to be fair, there could have been far more if I included the others. So yeah, this is a long video, so I appreciate you sticking through. Anyhow, let me know what you guys thought about my ratings down in the comment section, and also share your ratings of these games down in the comment section as well. And if you want, leave a little bit of a, I guess, feedback regarding your points on all these different games and what makes you prefer certain ones to others. It would be interesting to see what everyone thinks of all these different games. Lastly, just before I end this video today, I wanted to quickly just have a shout out moment for the Harry Potter modding community. And the reason I want to shout them out here is for the simple fact that they've done an awful lot to keep the Harry Potter games alive, in particular the PC ones I'm mainly looking at here. Really, they've just created some incredible mods for the games to improve them and make them work better by today's standards on modern day hardware, but they've also done some great stuff like creating their own custom levels. There's a lot that they've done behind the scenes, and I'm not going to spend forever talking about it here because I'll be here for a long time. So what I'm going to do is down in the description and the pinned comment, I'm going to link the Discord server for the Harry Potter modding community for you all, so you can go and join that if you want and go and have a chat with some of these mod creators and go and check out their work. And it's about time they got a shout out. And of course, I'm looking forward to Hogwarts Legacy that will be out in February, so 2 months time, which is not far away. And of course, I will be covering that game very heavily here on the channel when that releases, so stick around to see a load of Hogwarts Legacy in the future. I hope you guys enjoy the future Harry Potter content that's coming out before Hogwarts Legacy, and I will see you all in the next video very, very soon.